Welcome back. I said I was going to go to overtime. All right, so now that the overtime in San Jose is done, as expected, although it didn't come to an expected conclusion, I was already wearing Detroit garb. I'm staying with the Detroit garb because at this time of year, I like to wear teams that I'm not going to be wearing in the playoffs in all likelihood. All right, so we're going to start off talking about Columbus and Boston. And honestly, I kind of feel like Boston's lucky to come out of this one with points. So it's Hutchinson versus Ullmark. Remember, this is Columbus. This is a team that is statistically one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. An early edge goes to Columbus, but we get a power play for Boston. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Corelli, former Bruin. He fires that one wide. That's killed off. Columbus then gets a turn. We get 2 seconds of 4-on-4. The Bruins get their second power play. There's a cycle early. It was a better power play, but it's killed off. And then right after Columbus rushes, and they scored. So it's Roslovic from Foodie at 8:08. Columbus scores first. Columbus then gets a second power play. That was killed off. Marchand then has a rush chance that's saved. Bemstrom can't bury one in close. And with 1:19 left, Columbus gets their third power play. So that rolls over into the second period where the Bruins finish the kill. Really, the story of this game is Columbus's power play / Boston's penalty kill. Kind of saving Boston's bacon here. So fourth power play for Columbus, that's killed off. We then had a fight between Sweezy and Lauko. Shots are 5-3 Columbus at 7.5 minutes. We get a power play for Boston. It was going to be a 5. They dropped it to 2. Jack Edwards took it no, he didn't. He was mad. Anyways, power play goal during the 5-on-4 happens. It's Bertuzzi from Zacha and McAvoy at 10:07. We then had a fight between Peterson and Frederick. It was Peterson that threw the hit on the cross-check on Bergeron that was originally a 5, and Frederick it took one punch. And I hope Peterson's okay. And I say that even though, yes, it was quite the cross-check, and in this case, I do agree with him being challenged to a fight, but hope he's all right. Bergeron then has a rush chance that's saved. There's a 4-minute power play for Boston. Bertuzzi scores, but it's waved off. The whistle went. The goalie didn't have it, but it's still the whistle went, so it doesn't count. Bruins can't set up afterwards, and that's killed off the whole 4 minutes. Bruins press in the final minute, but after 2 periods, it's 1-1. Third period, early press by Columbus. Clifton has a shot that's blocked. The Jackets clear. Shots at 6.5 minutes are 7-2 for the Bruins. We then had a fight between Jenner and Carlos. A lot of fighting in this one. Power play then for Columbus. McCowan has a shot that's held. That's killed off. Jackets press with 4 minutes left, and honestly, they outshot Boston in that third period, but we go to overtime. In the overtime, Lindholm would set up behind the Boston net, go the other way, and Pastrnak ends up finishing it on the rush. So at 41 seconds, Pastrnak scores from Lindholm and Nosek, who won the faceoff to set the whole thing up as well. And Boston survives a scare from Columbus. They win 2-1. In overtime, they go to 58-12-5 with the win. Columbus 23-43-8 with the loss. 3 stars are Pastrnak, Ullmark, and Bertuzzi, or Pub. Shots on net are 8-6 for Boston in the first, 13-10 Boston in the second, 10-9 Columbus in the third. Boston had the only shot of the overtime. That's what they needed. Final shots 31-26 for Boston. Power plays Columbus 0 for 5, Boston 1 for 5. Hits 33-21 in favor of Boston. So Boston didn't have a 5-on-5 goal against Columbus. Let that sink in. Hutchinson saves 29 out of 31, and Ullmark saves 25 out of 26. So Ullmark doesn't take a night off. When he's in net, you can expect an excellent game, which is good because tonight Hutchinson kind of looked like Patrick Waugh at points in this game. All right, next up, Florida and Montreal. So Florida's kind of made this look easy for the most part. So it's Lyon versus Montembeault. Early jump for Florida, but then this one trickled through Lyon, and it was not a very good goal. Farrell just kind of throws it at the net. It's his first National Hockey League goal, though. Congratulations to Sean Farrell on that. Evans with the assist at 1:22. And then at 4:09, Florida answers. It's Lundell from Tkachuk and Gudas. So early on, I thought, oh, here we go. It's going to be another 9-5, 10-6 kind of score. It wasn't. Shots are 7-2 Panthers at 6 minutes. The Panthers press at 7.5 minutes. We then get a power play for those Panthers. That's killed off. Farrell to Evans near miss after that was done, but it's 1-1 after the first. Second period, we get a power play for Florida, and they score on it. It is Tkachuk from Reinhart and Montour at 3:59. And then two seconds less than 2 minutes later, or 1:58 later if you want to go that way about it, Tkachuk scores again. Lundell and Ekblad with the assists at 5:57. Habs press at 7 minutes. Lomberg was then denied and close. We get a power play for Montreal. That's killed off. With 7.5 minutes left, the shots are 6-5 for the Panthers. Both teams had 2 shots on net the rest of the way. So we go to the third period. Forsling fires one wide. The Habs press at 4.5 minutes. The lone shot on net was for Montreal at 6 minutes. We get a press by the Panthers at 8.5 minutes. Eventually, Lundell scores his second of the game at 10:15. Lundell then tried tipping one on a rush for a hat trick, but that was saved by Montembeault. We get a power play for the Habs, and that becomes a 6-on-4 with the goalie pull, and Harvey Pinard buries it during that 6-on-4 from at 18:36, not from 18:36, at 18:36. And so that makes it a little bit closer, but then the empty netter, it is Tkachuk with the hat trick goal from Barkov and Reinhart at 19 minutes and 40 seconds. So Lundell with 2, Tkachuk with 3. Your final score is 5-2 Florida. They go to 38, 31, and 7 with the win. Montreal 30, 40, and 6 with the loss. 3 stars are Tkachuk, Lundell, and Farrell with his first goal. Shots on net, 13-6 Florida in the first, 8-7 Florida in the second, 9-7 Florida in the third. Final shots, 30-20 Florida. Both teams go 1 for 2 on the power play. Hits, 20-18 for Florida. Lyon saves 18 out of 20. Back-to-back starts, and he does well again. Montembeault, 25 saves on 29 shots at the other end. All right, next up, the Rangers and the New Jersey Devils. So this felt like a playoff game. I'm really excited to see this, if this is going to be the series, and there's a good chance to think it could be, although Carolina, we'll get to Carolina in a bit here. Anyways, it's Shesterkin versus Vanacek. The shots are 2 apiece at 3 minutes. Howla would open the scoring. It was a face-off win, and then it's tipped in by Howla. The assists by Hamilton and Siegenthaler at 5:17, so New Jersey's up early. Then there's a press by the Devils at 7.5 minutes. Goudreau has a net feed chance that's picked off by New Jersey. Rangers press with 8.5 minutes left. Fox to Kane, near miss there. Tarasenko has a net feed that's picked off, as both teams were doing a pretty good job of not allowing these cross-ice, cross-crease passes. They were doing a good job of getting sticks in the lane. We get a power play then for the Devils, and they score on it. It's Timo Meier from Hughes and Heischer at 17:03. And it felt like a huge one because the Rangers had their share of chances. Then with 2:23 left, the Rangers with a power play. There's a shorthanded rush chance by Mercer. That's caught and held. They do kill that off. So it's 2-0 New Jersey after 1. Second period. Tatar nearly makes it 3-0. Looked skyward when it didn't go in. Shots are 2-1 Devils at 4 minutes. Sharangovich has a shot that's caught. The Rangers are stuck on 1 shot for a while there. Power play for the Devils. That's killed off. 2 shots. The Rangers clear, and they end up drawing themselves a power play, and they score on that one. It's Kreider from Zibanejad at 13:24. So suddenly it's 2-1. Mikkola and Howla are unfriendly behind the net on one of these many pushing, punching, smell my glove moments that we had on whistles. And at the horn, we get some more kind of scrummy, oh yeah, you come here a minute. The dislikes seem to be rising. And again, this is a first-round matchup. I'm going to be happy. So it's 2-1 New Jersey going to the third. Early jump for the Devils. The shots are 3-1 in their favor 3 minutes in. Shesterkin's keeping this one close. Things get punchy on a hold by Vanacek. Rangers are shot blocking a ton tonight. Devils press with 4 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 1:35 left. Graves prevents a tying goal. And then with 3.8 seconds left, the icing by the Devils makes you wonder, but they do hang on. And they stay ahead of the Rangers in the standings. They win 2-1. They go to 47, 20, and 8. The Rangers 44, 21, and 10. They fall 4 points behind New Jersey. So your 3 stars are Meier, Howla, and Vanacek because New Jersey does not recognize opposing goalies. First it was Gustafsson. Tonight it's Shesterkin. Great nights for opposing goalies. They don't see it. Shots on net are 14-8 New Jersey in the first, 10-7 New Jersey in the second, 10-7 Rangers in the third. Final shots 31-25 in favor of the Devils. Power plays, both teams go 1 for 2. So again, 2 games here where we had 4 power plays in total. Hits 19 apiece. Shesterkin saves 29 out of 31. Vanacek saves 24 out of 25. Both goalies were the story, and without Igor's heroics in the third, this really could have been worse, even though the Rangers did outshoot them in the third period. All right, moving along. Nashville and Pittsburgh. So for the Preds, of course, their playoff hopes are slim, but the game's in hand, right? They've had these games in hand. This is one of those games in hand. Winnipeg, of course, idle tonight. So it's Saros versus Jari. The shots are 2-1 Nashville, 4 minutes in. Get a power play for Nashville. That's killed off. We then get another power play. The Penguins do not let them set up on that one. In fact, there was a shorthanded net drive by Archibald. That's denied. And mercifully, the power play ends for Nashville. We get a press by Nashville with 8.5 minutes left, but with 3:35 left, Pittsburgh gets power play. Pretty aggressive penalty kill, though, by Nashville. They do kill that off. It's scoreless after one. Second period, early power play for Nashville. That's killed off. Exactly. Shots are one apiece at 4.5 minutes in this one. Power play then for Pittsburgh. Saros holds on to a screenshot. That's killed off. Nashville then gets some pressure, but Pittsburgh would get a goal. It's tipped in by Zucker, Dumoulin, and Malkin with the assists at 14:15, and then the Penguins look to add another goal. We get a press by Pittsburgh with 2.5 minutes left, but after the second period, it's 1-0 in favor of the Penguins. Second period, shots are 4-1 Pittsburgh at 2.5 minutes. So really, Saros under siege, but he doesn't get one of the stars either. Weird. It's odd how this is working now. It just feels like it's kind of the Vegas effect where now the home team just gets all the stars. Anyways, and I know it doesn't really make a difference. We don't, give out extra money to guys for stars, but it's just weird to me when I see that. Anyways, all that aside, Gravel saves a potential goal. Raquel's then denied on a 2-on-1. We get a power play for the Penguins, and they score on it. It's Gensel from Raquel and Letang at 13:03. He buries that one on a cycle. It was pretty early in the power play. We then get a power play for Pittsburgh with 3:08 left. Well, that really helps. Goalie pull happens after that power play is done, but Nashville's unable to get a goal. They lose this one 2-0 for Pittsburgh, 37-28-10. Keeps them ahead of Florida. Nashville 37-29-8 with the loss. Your three stars are Jari, Zucker, and Gensel. So Tristan Jari comes in and gives them the performance they needed. Shots on net 16-12 Pittsburgh in the first, 15-5 Pittsburgh in the second, and 14-11 Pittsburgh in the third. Final shots 45-28 for the Penguins. Power plays 0-3 for Nashville, 1-4 for Pittsburgh. Hits 41-36 in favor of the Penguins. Saros saves 43 out of 45. Jari, all 28. He saves them all for his 13th career shutout. That being said, I need to change boards. I didn't put up the other magnet. Let me do that quick. Okay, so there's the Tony the Tiger magnet. I put the Tony the Tiger magnet up there because Tristan Jari's great. Anyways, moving along. All right, so Philadelphia and Ottawa. So it was the return for Cam Talbot. I don't think he gave them the save percentage they were looking for, but Ottawa stays in the hunt. So with teams ahead of them getting wins, it was vital that the Ottawa Senators kept pace. So it's Sandstrom versus Talbot. Ristolainen has a chance that's caught and held. We get a power play for Ottawa. Batherson fires one high on a rush. They cycle. That's killed off. There's a press by Ottawa at 5 minutes. The shots are 3-1 Sens at 6.5. Watson fires one wide from the slot, and then he would get the puck back, and he scores at 10:58. So he opens the scoring for Ottawa. Stützle's then denied from the side of the net. The shots are 12-2 for Ottawa with 5.5 minutes left. Spoiler alert, Philadelphia didn't get another shot in the period. Giroux almost bounced one in off his stick. So he's bouncing it on his stick and went to bounce it over the shoulder of the goalie. That would be highlight reel, the kind of thing that if you see in a video game, somebody's going to throw their controller and go, "That I quit. I don't know how you did that, but I quit. I'm done. You win. Here's your crown. I quit." So it's 1-0 Ottawa after the first. I had a lot of video games when I was young. Anyway, second period power play for the Flyers, and they score on it. At 2:51, D'Angelo scores from York and Hayes. So that ties it, but Ottawa gets the lead back. It's Stützle from Tkachuk and Holden at 7:43. And then we had a fight between Farabee and DeBrincat. There was some fights tonight. Like, it feels like the intensity is definitely going up in these games. We're getting ready for the playoffs. We get a power play for the Flyers not long after. That's killed off. 30 minutes into this game, Philadelphia had 4 shots. So, yeah, this was not a great game by the Flyers. Power play for the Sens, that's killed off. We then had a fight between Delorier and Kastelik. We then had two penalties for each team on the same play, and there was no power play out of that. Shots are 7-2 for the Sens with 5 minutes left. We then get a power play for Ottawa. DeBrincat misses one high, they cycle, and then Pinto scores from Joseph at 16:50. However, Hamonic had already been hurt at this point, and now Brassard, his toe kind of got stuck on the ice, and his ankle went in a direction it shouldn't have, meaning knee, ankle, whatever it is. He was down on the ice, and he was frozen in one spot and just was not moving. So did not look good. He also didn't even put that leg down on the ice. To me, it looks like a break. If it's not a break, it's something major. And keep in mind, Brassard played his 1,000th game very recently. This could be his final year. If that's the way that his career ends, that's absolutely tragic. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully he comes back for another year. We then get a post for Batherson on a rush, and it's 3-1 in favor of Ottawa after 2. Third period, Giroux does score. Didn't bounce this one in, but he scores. Wires the top corner on a rush. Stützle and Clevin with the assist at 2:28. So Clevin, in his first game, gets his first point. Shots are 6-1 Ottawa at 4 minutes. Things look good until York fires one top corner, short side at 5:22. Flyers get a power play. They score on it. It's Cates from Ristolainen and D'Angelo at 9:54, and it's a point shot through a screen. And then Tippett scores from Sanheim at 17:21 to tie the game. So it was a 3-goal lead in the third against Philadelphia, a team that is offensively challenged, and Philadelphia came back and tied it. Not only that, but they scored 3 goals on their last 5 shots of that third period. So we go to overtime. Early control for the Sens. DeBrincat to Giroux gets blocked. Ristolainen hits a post, almost, and then DeBrincat. It was a turnover by Sandstrom behind the net, and at 1:36, DeBrincat makes him pay and scores the winning goal. So Ottawa survives a bit of a scare. They win 5-4 in overtime. They go to 37-32-5 with the win. Philadelphia 29-32 and 13. So that's 13 overtime and shootout loss points. 3 stars are Stützle, Giroux, and D'Angelo. Shots on net 17-2 in favor of Ottawa in the first, 10-3 Ottawa in the second, 17-6 Ottawa in the third, 2-0 Ottawa in the overtime. Final shots are 46-11 for the Senators. This shouldn't have gone to overtime. Power plays, Philadelphia 2 for 2. Ottawa 1 for 3. The hits 35-24 in favor of Philly. Sandstrom saves 41 out of 46, and Talbot 7 saves on 11 shots. So, absolutely ridiculous game. All right, Tampa Bay. The Bolts look like they're back. So, Tampa Bay at home against Washington. Kemper versus Vasilevsky in this one. Tampa Bay presses at a minute and a half. Colton has a rush chance that's saved and held. We end up with 4-on-4 happening. Point nearly tips one in on a set play. The shots on net are 7-1 Tampa at 8 minutes. Tampa Bay gets a power play, and they score on it. At 9 minutes and 20 seconds, it is Killorn from Sergachev and Stamkos. Colton then has a net drive that's defended. Better second half for the Caps, but they're already down 1-0. Caps press in the final minute. Cole couldn't bury one in the closing seconds, and then on a face-off win, Stamkos does. He scores from Belmar at 19:57, so it is 2-0 Tampa, and those goals are just killer, and you don't get the McNuggets in that final minute if you're a Caps fan if the goal's scored by Tampa, so not even Nuggets. So second period, early jump for the Caps. Vasilevsky saves. The Bolts press at 3 minutes. Big Ovechkin hit on Cole that, was definitely entertaining. Perry nearly scores one in close. The shots on net are 4 apiece at 7.5 minutes. Mantha has a shot that saved the Caps press. Point has a rush chance that's defended. Chernak had a blast that was saved and held. Hedman has a net feed that's blocked as the Bolts press. And Washington gets on the board. It's Craig Smith, who's fit in pretty well in Washington. He scores from Mantha and Sandin at 16 minutes and 10 seconds. So there's Sandin on the board again. It's 2-1 for Tampa after 2. Third period. Caps press at 3 minutes. Smith has a shot that's saved and held. And then it's a 2-on-1 rush, and Maroon buries it. Cirelli with the assist at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Tampa Bay then looks for another. They've got the momentum back. Kucherov fires one wide as the Bolts press. The shots are 7-3 in their favor 9 minutes in. We get a power play for the Caps. Sherry's denied in close. It was a good power play, but it's killed off. Stamkos is then denied on a rush. And at 16:28, Maroon gets the second goal of the game. He scores from Cirelli and Killorn, and then with the goalie pulled, Chernak puts it out of reach at 18:06. Although it was already 4-1, it was pretty much out of reach. But Washington desperately needs points. They don't get one tonight. Your final score is 5-1 for Tampa. They go to 44, 26, and 6 with the win. For Washington, 34, 33, and 9 with the loss. 3 stars are Maroon, Stamkos, and Vasilevsky. Shots on net, 13-8 Tampa in the first, 10-9 Washington in the second, 13-12 Washington in the third. Final shots, 34-31 for Tampa. Power plays 0 for 4 for Washington, 1 for 2 for Tampa. Hits 37-36 for the Bolts. Kemper saves 29 out of 33. Vasilevsky, another solid night for him. 30 saves on 31 shots. So, yeah, Vasi's back. All right, next up, Carolina and Detroit. This was a bit of a surprise. So, Anderson versus Nedeljkovic, and on the first shot, it's buried on a rush. It's Kubalik From Perron Insider, that's at 59 seconds. Nedeljkovic against his former team, kind of motivated tonight as well. So the shots are 2-1 for the Wings at 3.5 minutes. Puljujarvi has a shot that's held. Larkin then had one that was held as well on a rush the other way. Gostisbehere has a shot that's blocked as the Canes are pressing, looking to tie. Aho has a tip shot that's saved. The Wings clear it out. Power play for Carolina. That's killed off. The Wings press in the final minute, and they come out of the first period up 1-0. Second period, early jump for the Canes, and they would score it. 42 seconds, it's Burns from Slavin and Fast. Power play then for the Canes. That's killed off. However, at 4 minutes and 18 seconds, Slavin tips one in on a rush after that power play's done. Aho and Stahl with the assists. So now Carolina's up 2-1, and I thought, yeah, that's about right. Carolina knows they've got a team breathing down their necks in New Jersey. I would expect them to win this game over Detroit, a team that's out of the hunt, right? Nope. Shots are actually 7-0 for the Canes at 7 minutes, too. We then get a power play, though, for Detroit. And they score on it. It is Larkin from Chason and Perron at 7:26, and it's a one-timer. It's really early in that power play. Canes press for a response. There's a near miss then for Suter at the other end for the Detroit Red Wings. Perron has a shot that's saved and held. The Canes press with 3 minutes left. Kubelik's denied on a rush. And with 5.9 seconds left, the Wings get a power play. And this was tough because Carolina had a really good period of hockey, and yet they're killing a power play to start the third period. Now, they did kill that off, and they had the only shot on net 3 minutes in, meaning Detroit didn't get a shot during that. We get a power play for Carolina. That's killed off. Wings press are kept to the outside. Veleno breaks up a Canes press. We go over 5 minutes without a whistle. It was about 6 minutes without a whistle altogether. Pesce has a chance that's held. The shots with 7 minutes left are 8-0 in favor of Carolina. But Detroit would have a much better run from there. Perron couldn't bury a rebound. We get a power play for Detroit with 5:29 left. Larkin's denied from the slot. That's killed off. Wings press after. Anderson had been solid to this point, but then in 1956. And it's one of those things where you ask yourself, so did the Canes let up? Because Wallman gets one, he wires it through a screen from Kopp and Ernie, and that's it. Like, there was 3.8 seconds left. That's not enough time to generate a goal. So Detroit wins a buzzer beater, basically. They win 3-2. They go to 33, 32, and 9 on the season. They play spoiler for Carolina, 47, 18, and 9 on the season. The results tonight have me... I'm going to be going through tomorrow and completely moving around the power rankings because teams at the top aren't playing like teams at the top, and teams that have been around the middle are playing like teams at the top. It's that time of year. Things get bizarre going towards the playoffs. So the 3 stars in this one, all Detroit, because sure, why not? Wallman, Nedeljkovic, and Larkin. Shots on net, favor Carolina the whole way. 10-8 in the first, 14-7 in the second, 9-7 in the third. Final shots 33-22 for Carolina. Power plays, the Canes 0 for 3, Detroit 1 for 3. The hits 23-7 for Detroit. Anderson 19 saves on 22 shots, so he had a good night going, and then that one beats him through a screen late. And Nedeljkovic 31 saves on 33 shots. Since being recalled by Detroit due to injury, Nedeljkovic has been a really good fill-in, so that's good. That bodes well for him for next season. All right, last one on this board, St. Louis and Chicago. I expect when I look at the stats on this video, this is going to be the part that performs the best. So it's Binnington versus Mrazek in this one. The Hawks had the only shot on net 7 minutes in, so, right? Caleb Jones fires one wide. Radish has a shot that's saved as the Hawks press. Vrana has a net feed that's tipped wide. Reichel has a rush chance that's defended. Wagner is denied by Binnington. Power play for the Blues. That's killed off after the first period. It's scoreless. Second period, Hawks press 2 minutes in. The Blues then press back 3.5 minutes in. Shots are 4-1 St. Louis at 4 minutes, so they're doing better at getting the shots on the net. And at 4:25, it's Vrana from Saad and Shen. So Vrana continues to produce in St. Louis. Blues press for another, but Chicago would get a power play, and they score on it. At 10:24, it's Athanasiou from Tyler Johnson and from Radish. So that ties it up. The Blues press for a response, and they would get one. Logan Brown gets the second of the year from Falk and Levo at 12:59. And then at 13:37, on a 3-on-1 rush, it's a 5-hole goal. Toropchenko gets that one from Pitlick and Falk. So not a fantastic goal from Mrazek. He would want that one back. And suddenly it's 3-1 in favor of the Blues. The Blues press with 3 minutes left. Binnington holds an Anderson shot, and with 1:08 left, the Hawks get a power play. So that's rolling over to the third period, and they score on it. It's Tyler Johnson from Radish and Reichel at 31 seconds. So Lucas Reichel on the board there. He's been good so far. Blues press for response. There's a near miss for England then in close. Power play for the Blues. The Hawks don't let them set up. They kill that off. And at 9:25, Kyrou wires one from the slot for St. Louis from Blaine and Kapanen. So that gives that goal cushion back, and it's good because at 10:21, less than a minute later, Seth Jones answers to put it to 1 goal again. Kachuk and Caleb Jones with the assists. So the Jones brothers combining on that with Kachuk in the middle there. Shots are 8-5 for Chicago with 6.5 minutes left. Empty net goal, there was an icing where they missed it with 2:21 left. Saad doesn't miss the next opportunity at 18:47. That's your empty netter, and that's your insurance goal. St. Louis wins this one 5-3. They go to 35, 34, and 6 with the win. For Chicago, 24, 45, and 6 with the loss. 3 stars are Kyrou, Saad, and Verona. Shots on net, 9-7 Chicago in the first, 15-12 St. Louis in the second, 12-7 Chicago in the third. They actually outshoot St. Louis 33-29. Power play, St. Louis 0 for 2, Chicago 2 for 3. And then the hits, 24-16 for St. Louis. Binnington saves 30 out of 33, and Mrazek saves 24 out of 28. All right, now I need to go to board number 3. And finally, the Pacific Division. Pacific Division tonight. All right, so we're going to start off talking about LA and Edmonton, and this felt like a playoff game. This absolutely felt like a playoff game. I kind of hope we get this series, but with the way Edmonton's going, they may end up actually finishing atop this division. So it's Korpisalo versus Skinner. There's a power play for the Kings. That's killed off. Post then for Bukestad. Kaliev's denied. There's some pushing after that. Shots are 3 apiece at 6.5 minutes, and as I wrote up there, playoff feel at that point in the game. Oilers press at 7 minutes. Things get punchy on a hold by Skinner. A lot of scrums after the whistle and no penalties being called where normally we would see that. So definitely a quiet game from a penalty standpoint compared to what we would have seen, say, in October. And before the period's out at 19:08, Evander Kane gets his 301st from Draisaitl and Yamamoto. So Draisaitl assisted on the 300th and the 301st. So we go to the second period with the Oilers up 1-0. The Oilers press at a minute and a half. Broberg has a shot that's saved. Kane has a rush chance that's saved. We get some pushing. Costin has a wraparound that's saved. Hyman's denied. We get a power play for the Oilers. That's killed off. The shots are 14-2 for Edmonton at 9 minutes. Yeah, Korpisalo, busy. Very busy. Arvidsson then has a blast that's caught and held. The Kings get a power play. Things get pushy on a hold by Skinner during that. That's killed off. Kempe has a shot that's held. And again, just that playoff, everything about this, just I'm anxious because we're a few weeks away and you can tell. Dan O'Demore, near miss there. The fans call one. The ref does not. 1:34 left, though. The Oilers do get a power play. There was a post for Bouchard from the point, but that power play rolls over into the third where the Kings finish the kill. We then get a power play for LA. The Oilers clear it out early. Kempe has a one-timer that's saved and cleared, and then it's a breakaway. It's a shorthanded goal, and it's McDavid at 353. So that's the 61st of the season and the 300th of his career. So, yeah, and I still don't see Draisaitl with an assist. That's the only thing that makes me sad is I figured Draisaitl would have an assist on that goal number 300. But McDavid, one of the fastest to reach 300 in NHL history. Oilers finish the kill. Then they rush. Draisaitl to Kane, near miss there. The Oilers with momentum. Big saves by Korpisalo at this point. Nugent Hopkins has a screenshot that's held. Hyman had a rush chance that's saved. And then with 5.5 minutes left, the Kings, they start inundating pucks, or inundating Skinner with pucks and shots. Gavrikov is a tip shot that's saved. They pull the goaltender. Arvidsson's denied. And easily, in my eyes, the best game of the season for Stuart Skinner. 1:19 left. The Kings call a timeout. There was a post for Kempe in that final minute. They can't get on the board. Your final score is 2-0 for the Oilers. Did I really? All right, I'll be right back. How can I not? I mean, I can understand if I did it once, but not doing it twice. I feel like I should get the strangling of Bart one first, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put the Tony up there. I'm slipping in my old age. That's what it is. All right, so your 3 stars in this one, Skinner, McDavid, and Korpisalo. Shots on net, 11-10 LA in the first, 17-13 Edmonton in the second, and 19-10 LA in the third. Final shots, 43-37 for the Kings. Power plays, LA 0 for 3, Edmonton 0 for 2. It is rare that the Oilers have 2 or more power plays and they don't score. So your hits, 34-18 for Edmonton. Korpisalo, 35 saves on 37 shots. And Skinner saved all 43 shots for his second career shutout. So Pretty big night. Pretty big night for the Oilers and for Skinner and for the Kings. They have 1 goal in their last 2 games. And again, my power rankings are kind of... I need to go through tomorrow and just basically wipe the slate clean when it comes to that top 10. And you guys are going to see a completely different top 10 on Saturday is my guess. All right, next up. Anaheim and Seattle. So this one was close in places, I guess. It's Dostal versus Jones. Power play for Seattle early. Sprong fires one wide. The Ducks clear. That's killed off. No shots on net. So it's slow-ish start at that point. Power play then for the Ducks. That's killed off. Shots are 5-1 in their favor. 6.5 minutes in. But at 7:56, Schwartz opens the scoring from Borgen and Alexiak. The Ducks would press for a response to that goal. McCann has a rush chance that's saved, and then Beniers gets his 21st of the season from McCann at 10:36. Leeson then has a shot that's blocked as the Ducks are pressing. Kraken press, but they're kept to the outside. There's a near miss for Sprong, more pressure, and to close out the period, Seattle. More time in Anaheim zone and more attempts at the net. So it's 2-0 after 1 in favor of the Kraken. Second period, Harrington has a net feed that's picked off. Eberle fires one wide from the slot. There's a press by Seattle at 2 minutes, and they had the only 2 shots on net 5 minutes into the period. We get a power play for Anaheim. That's killed off. Eberle has a shot that's saved and held. Borgen has a blast that's held. Dostal was quite good, and I think what we've seen this year with Anaheim is Dostal's ready to be at least a backup in the NHL. McGinn would then score from Grant. He buries a one-timer at 18:44. So suddenly Anaheim's on the board. And it's only a 1-goal game. Seattle does press for a response, but again, coming out of the second period, it's 2-1. Third period, Kraken were 29-1-3 leading after 2, so they're pretty good at locking things down. Shots are 2-1 Ducks at 4 minutes. McTavish has a rush chance that's broken up. Borgen tries to bank one in. Vetrano's denied from the slot. Benoit breaks up a 2-on-1. Donato has a one-timer that's saved. Sprong's denied on a rush. We then get a power play for Seattle with 5:46 left, and they score on it. Sprong with his 20th of the season. Kudos to Sprong on his first career 20-goal season. That's at 15:41. Beniers and Schultz with the assist. Good cycle, and he buries it. Things get punchy on a hold by Dostal. Becomes a 4-on-4. They pull the goalie to make it a 5-on-4, and Wenberg would hit the empty net at 17:45 to put this one out of reach. Your final score is 4-1 for Seattle. They go to 41-25-8 with the win. Anaheim 23-42-10 with the loss in this one. 3 stars are Beniers, Schwartz, and Sprong. Shots 15-8 Seattle in the first, 9-7 Seattle in the second, 15-4 Seattle in the third. Final shots 39-19 for Seattle. Power plays 0-2 for Anaheim, 1-2 for Seattle. Hits 15-8 for Seattle. Dostal saves 35 out of 38. Jones saved 18 out of 19. So Martin Jones goes in, plays a decent game, and they win. Now Jones goes back into the lead to be the starter when they start the playoffs in a couple weeks. All right, next up, Vegas and San Jose. So again, it just throws everything off. I would have assumed before this game, well, Vegas is going to win. They don't lose in San Jose. That doesn't happen. And they talked a lot about that before this game. Like, yeah, Vegas doesn't lose in San Jose, right? What's going to happen? So it's Brossoit versus Reimer. The shots are 2-0 Vegas at 3 minutes. And then on their first shot, San Jose scores. Ferraro with the goal from Thrun and Bordelot at 4:16. Originally, they gave the goal to Zetterlund, but it's been changed to Ferraro. That is Thrun's first point in the NHL. It's Bordelot's first point this season as a Shark. Cotter then has a rush chance. That's broken up. Hurdle to Shimmick, near miss. The Sharks end up coming out of that with a power play because somebody interfered with Hurdle. So we then get a minute and 11 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. Vegas not generating much. They were kind of flat. But helping them out was San Jose wasn't getting a lot of shots either. So Sharks go back to the power play. It's killed off. And to illustrate my point, they don't get a shot on it. But then on their fourth shot on a turnover, San Jose makes it 2-0. It's Lindblom from Ferraro and Thrun at 14:31, but Vegas would answer. Haig scores from Hutton at 16:55, and then Vegas looks to tie it. So we're kind of used to this a little bit. Like, San Jose gets a little bit of hope, and then Vegas will stomp it out. Going to the second period, power play for Vegas. Early clear by the Sharks, but Barbashev buries one from the slot. Nice play by Roy as he was getting taken down to get the puck to Barbashev, who buries it. Eichel with the assist as well at 1:08. Sharks press for a response. Vegas presses as well. They're kept to the outside again. Power play for the Sharks. That's killed off. The shots on net are 3-1 for Vegas, 8.5 minutes in. Press by Vegas with 9 minutes left, but at 11, 47. It's a turnover rush and hurdle scores from Kaut and Peterson. There were 9 shots in total in that period. So that would have been at least the 5th shot of the 9, and there's just not a lot to talk about the rest of that period. We're going to the 3rd with the score 3-2 in favor of the San Jose Sharks, which surprised me. But 3rd period, Vegas, they had 10 wins this season when trailing after 2. That's the most in the NHL, so worth putting up there because it can happen. Pressed by Vegas at 2 minutes. VL had a sharp angle shot that was saved. Marchessault tips one wide. There's more press by Vegas, but Sharks are blocking him out as well. Shots on net are actually 6-3 for the Sharks at 7.5 minutes, which surprised me because it felt like Vegas was getting the lion's share of the play. Kaut has a turnover chance that's saved, but then Amadio buries a rebound to tie the game from Stevenson and Hutton at 10:07. Then there's a near miss for Couture on a chance he got off of a face-off win. Face-offs are one thing that's troubling Vegas right now. So we've talked about the goaltending, but their face-off percentages are routinely around 40%. In the playoffs, that can just do you in. So pressed by Vegas with 4.5 minutes left, with 3:38 left, Vegas gets a power play, and San Jose kills that off. Their penalty kill's quite good. Momentum for Vegas after, but we're going to overtime. The overtime, Vegas controls early, but it's turned over by Pietrangelo. Couture scores at 50 seconds. Pietrangelo snaps his stick, and San Jose wins this one 4-3. So they get 1 point, but Edmonton gets 2. So the San Jose Sharks with the win, they've won 2 in a row. They go to 21, 39, and 15. And now they're moving up the standings. For Vegas with the 1 point, they're 46, 22, and 7. They do not hit the 100-point mark. They're now at 99. 3 stars are Couture, Thrun, and Ferraro. Shots on net are 6-5 San Jose in the first, 5-4 San Jose in the second. So yeah, they were 11-9 after 2 periods. And then in the 3rd period, everybody remembered how to hit the net. 17-13 for Vegas, and San Jose had the only shot of the overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots 26-25 for Vegas. Power plays, Vegas 1 for 3, San Jose 0 for 3. The hits 23-18 San Jose. Brossoit saves 21 out of 25. Reimer saved 23 out of 26. And there you go, Reimer with back-to-back wins too. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.